First up on the bulletin, let's tell you how the Supreme Court has begun hearing Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's plea seeking bail and challenging his arrest by the CBI in the Liquorgate case. In fact, senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi has been appearing for Arvind Kejriwal at court. Now remember, Arvind Kejriwal has filed two separate petitions challenging the denial of the bail and against his arrest by the CBI in the case. In fact, the Aam Aadmi Party chief was arrested by the CBI on 26th of June. Now remember, he had been granted bail by the top court in the case which was filed by the Enforcement Directorate related to the same matter on 12th of July. Now the Delhi High Court had also on 5th of August upheld the arrest of Chief Minister as legal. The High Court had said that there was no malice in the acts which was done by the CBI, which was in a position to try and demonstrate how the Aam Aadmi Party Supremo could influence the witnesses. The High Court also said that the arrest cannot be said to be without any justifiable reason or cannot be called illegal. Well, the CBI, meanwhile, in its supplementary charge sheet has alleged that there was money being received from the South Group, which was used for the Aam Aadmi Party's Goa election. It is also claiming that Arvind Kejriwal had promised to give 90 lakh rupees to every candidate in the 40 constituencies of Goa. Well, the CBI has also alleged that Arvind Kejriwal had connections in the South Group through Vijay Nair, whom he appointed as his media manager. With that, let's get you some big breaking news, fast updates which are coming in from the hearing which is happening in the Supreme Court. Well, the court has made some big observations during the hearing. The court has asked, how long should we hear the case and whether ordinary mortals get so much time? Let me go across to Bhavtosh, who's joining us with all the details. State Shri is also joining us. Bhavtosh, these are very interesting observations, given the kind of observations which were coming in from the courts at the time of allowing bail to Sisodia as well as K. Kavita. And now, this time around, what are the indications, the observations from the Supreme Court?
Meghna, the hearing started at around 10:30 a.m. and this is the bench of Justice Suryakant and the hearing, in fact, is started with the senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi saying that the arrest of Abhishek Manu Singhvi by CBI was an insurance arrest, saying that he was already out on interim bail given by the Supreme Court, but CBI made this arrest to make sure that Arvind Kejriwal does not walk out of the hard jail, and he's going through the entire background of the case. Now, one point that Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju had raised was that the judicial hierarchy was not followed by Arvind Kejriwal, that he did not apply for bail in the trial court, to which Abhishek Manu Singhvi quoted a judgment of the Supreme Court in which he had said that in Manish Sisodia case, when he was given bail, he said that it's like snake and ladder, that it's not possible for any accused whose Article 21 or liberty is being trampled, for him to go to trial court, to High Court and then to Supreme Court. And that's the reason why Abhishek Manu Singhvi has said that in Arvind Kejriwal case also, they preferred going to the High Court and then to the Supreme Court. He said that the charge sheet has been filed in this case and there is no chance that he will influence witnesses. He's the sitting Chief Minister of the state, and he has said that he should be given bail. And he said the very fact that CBI decided to question him in the custody clearly means that the whole motive of CBI was to make sure that he is not released on bail.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us. I'll just go across to State Shri. Now, this is very interesting. The Aam Aadmi Party, of course, is going to be hoping for bail relief for their national convener, also the Delhi Chief Minister, after the party leader Manish Sisodia and BRS leader K. Kavita, as we were discussing, were also granted bail by the top court earlier last month. Now, while granting bail to K. Kavita, the Supreme Court had stated that custody is not necessary for investigation and asked what is the material to show K. Kavita's role in the crime scene. Similarly, while granting relief to Manish Sisodia, the top court had held that bail is a rule and jail is an exception. So the Supreme Court has also noted that trial is not going to be completed in the near future and hence had said keeping someone behind bars for indefinite periods of time was incorrect. Well, those are the observations coming in. Well, let me in fact go across to Tetri as well, so that we can get some clarity on what is happening right now. Tetri, one of the things which was said by Manu Singhvi, who is of course representing Arvind Kejriwal, is that only two things need to be decided. One, if he's a flight risk, and second, if he's going to tamper with evidence and if he will influence any witnesses. That's what this entire rationale is going to come down to, isn't it? Whether he's going to flee or whether there could be evidence tampering.
Well, absolutely, and we'll have to see that how court responds to this because these were certainly the same points when he was arguing for Manish Sisodia as well, that is he going to tamper the evidence, or in fact is he going to influence the witness, or is he going to flee? So these are all the three major points on which Abhishek Manu Singhvi is arguing in the court right now. But yes, certainly if Arvind Kejriwal walks out of bail, it will be a big win for Aam Aadmi Party. But yes, all eyes are on the Supreme Court so as to what decision Supreme Court gives, because as you rightly mentioned that Supreme Court, while giving bail to K. Kavita, Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh, and of course Vijay Nair, who recently got bail, made very significant points, and certainly now we'll have to see that what points will the Supreme Court be making, because remember that Abhishek Manu Singhvi has also pointed out so as to how Arvind Kejriwal was granted interim bail once during the time of elections, and he is already out in bail. He has already got bail in as far as the case of enforcement directorate is concerned, and those points he is also reading out so as to what were the grounds on which Arvind Kejriwal got bail as far as the case of enforcement directorate is concerned. But yes, we are also seeing that arguments are also being raised so as to what that Arvind Kejriwal hasn't knocked the doors of a trial court yet. So now it is very significant to see that how court responds to all these arguments.
Yes, we're going to be waiting for that. Let's see if that means another step which is going to be added if he'll be asked to go to the trial court. However, let's explain to our viewers what exactly are the charges that Arvind Kejriwal is today facing by the CBI. Here's the entire charge sheet. It says CBI's charges against Arvind Kejriwal. The first charge is the money which has been received from the South Group, which has been used in Goa polls. Now, that's a big damning charge which has been made. It also has alleged that Arvind Kejriwal has connections with the South Group, of course, for which the link was allegedly that of Vijay Nair. In fact, the third charge that we are going to bring for you is that Vijay Nair was appointed by the Chief Minister as his media manager, and he was the one who was in touch with South Group. Of course, that is where the involvement comes in of K. Kavita as well. The fourth charge is that Arvind Kejriwal had promised to give 90 lakh rupees to every candidate. This is specifically in the Goa polls, that to every Goa candidate he had promised that there will be 90 lakh rupees. The fifth charge and the final charge is that there is Raghav Magunta had already had a meeting with Arvind Kejriwal. So let me go across to Swapnil Kothari, who's joining us, advocate. And it's important for us to understand, Swapnil Kothari, at this point, the kind of indications coming in from the Supreme Court when it has said that we'll have to see how long you want us to continue hearing a case. Given the kind of precedents in the case of Manish Sisodia and the case of K. Kavita, Swapnil Kothari, which way seems to be going, given the observations coming in?
Right, Meghna, I think the Supreme Court will, it's hearing its bail application, it's hearing it's also, the CBI has done some sort of an insurance arrest, saying that despite the reliefs given by the Delhi High Court and all those things, he is still, within the custody. So the thing is that what is happening here is that the Supreme Court is making it sure that do not prolong these hearings, do not prolong the case beyond what it is necessary. If you have a reasonable ground to show that he needs to be given bail by us also, then we will do that. And if not, then you better justify the custody. So that is what the Supreme Court is trying to say. And I believe Abhishek Manu Singhvi is arguing the matter on behalf of, Kejriwal. So I am sure, in some form or the other, the Supreme Court will try to bring a closure to this at the end of the day. And I personally believe that the Chief Minister cannot function from jail. So either he has to stop functioning from jail or either he has to be given bail. So the court has to decide between the two what it wants to be done, because this is a very bad news, especially for a democracy, that some Chief Minister who has still not resigned from the post is continuing his activities from jail.
But Swapnil Kothari, the fact that Arvind Kejriwal appealed in the High Court, in the Supreme Court, but not in the trial court, do you think that's something which may be weighing against him in the entire legal procedure?
Yes, I think so, because if that was the condition of the bail, or if that was what the Supreme Court had said, or rather the Delhi High Court had said, that you go back to the trial court and argue your matter there, And that is something which you need to do, because you cannot jump the tiers of the court, because most often in these kind of cases, people do jump tiers and say that, okay, let me give it a shot in the Delhi High Court straight, or let me go straight to the Supreme Court because it's a violation of my fundamental right. But if the court has specified that you need to go to the trial court, then you need to go there. And that is what you need to have done. Now, if that is a condition which the court remembers, or which the court tries to enforce and say that, look, before us, but Abhishek Manu Singhvi is a very smart lawyer. So he knows that this is the procedure. But so what he's trying to do is he's going to trying to magnify the case. So once he magnifies the case and says that this is beyond the ambit of what was the bail application or what were the conditions of the bail, this is much bigger than that. This is something that fundamentally we are challenging the arrest itself, because it was an insurance arrest of some sort. So then I don't need to go to the trial court. So he's magnifying the case.
Okay.
And once
but Abhishek Manu Singhvi has said that it's like snakes and ladder, quoting one of the previous orders, saying that it's like playing snakes and ladders, going up and going down.
Exactly. So that is precisely what he's trying to do. Is he's trying to tell the court by using these phrases that if you tell me to go back to the trial court, basically what we're doing is we're going up to 99, which is close to 100, and then there is a big snake which goes down to, say, number 9 or something, which I remember when I used to play during my childhood. So if that is what you're trying me to do, to go back down, then it's just a question of snakes and ladders, which is not something which is amenable to somebody who's beyond. See, I'm not looking at the fact that he's a chief minister. I'm looking at, and I'm not talking in his favor either, and I'm not talking in CBI's favor either. I'm simply talking by the provisions of the law. I'm saying that if the provisions of the law state that bail is the rule and jail is the exception, even in money laundering cases, which the Supreme Court has held earlier as well, that the people are misusing PMLA and all those kind of legislations, which are draconian even otherwise, to put people behind bars. So that is something which Abhishek Manu Singhvi is arguing against, and he's saying that you are asking me to go back to trial court. That means he's going to languish in jail. That means I have to start all over again. So you might as well. That's the reason why
you might as well just have gone to the trial court. We'll have to wait and see if that's the way the Supreme Court is going to be ruling. Thank you so much, Swapnil Kothari, for putting all of that into perspective. We'll keep connecting with you so that we can get a legal opinion also about the proceedings which are currently underway in the Supreme Court. But it's important for us to understand what exactly it is that the Supreme Court had said earlier when it had granted bail to the other two accused, K. Kavita as well as Manish Sisodia. Let's start with K. Kavita. This is what the Supreme Court had said at the time, the rationale behind granting bail to K. Kavita. First, that custody is not necessary for investigation. The Supreme Court had also said that the custody should not turn into a punishment for the person who is accused, and what is the material to show that there is any role in crime is something that the Supreme Court had asked, and also that a person who incriminates himself has been made a witness, which is something a strong objection has been taken. Also, the Supreme Court had said you cannot pick and choose any accused as to which one turns into an approver. Let's also tell our viewers as to what exactly it is that the Supreme Court had said while granting bail to Manish Sisodia. This is on your screens. It said that bail is a rule and jail is an exception. It goes on to say that trial is not expected to conclude in the near future, given the way it had stretched out. Keeping him behind bars for an indefinite period is not correct, is what the Supreme Court had said. Big words. Look at the words also and the tonality of the order. The Supreme Court also said that the travesty of justice to relegate him back to the trial court. This is what the Supreme Court has said. So right here on Times Now, Bhavtosh as well as Tetri are going to be getting us minute-by-minute updates, as well as our legal editor, Harish Nair, about the proceedings which are happening right now as the Supreme Court hears two pleas which have been put in place by Arvind Kejriwal seeking bail. After Kavita Sisodia, will Arvind Kejriwal get jail or will it be bail for him? We'll have to wait and see.